the United Church. Outside, they've done quite well. We're to none other than Ronston Anglin, a brother of mine in the Lord, and he's also the second elected member for the district of West Bay. Tell us, what has happened up there?
Well, I mean, in West Bay, of course, we fared off, relatively speaking, well. That still doesn't mean we don't have a lot of damage, a lot of destruction. However, you find that most people are in good spirits and they're thankful that they still have their lives, which means that they can rebuild their houses, replace cars and other worldly possessions. Is dealing with the situation of persons who didn't have insurance. They've already got a temporary plan in place that has been approved by the Recovery and Restoration Committee. And so that work is going to start on that. People are encouraged to get their names and their details because ultimately until government has a complete assessment, then we can't fill all the needs or attempt to fill all the needs that's there.
Now, let me ask you, in a rough assessment, of the total damage across the island?
I have heard numerous reports and everyone seems to have their view, but one would have to guess, just looking at 7 Mile Beach, South Sound, and some of the more upscale properties in terms of dollar value, we have to be in excess of $1 billion CI dollars, I would think. Wow, that's just my guess.
Wow. Now, what are you, as a government, after sort of hearing from all insurance companies, and if them is saying no payment, or?
I haven't heard that. I haven't heard any such comments. Everyone that I've spoken to in the public have been pleased thus far with the way they're being handled and the way they're being treated. Things seem to be being expedited and they seem to be getting through their processes and getting partial payments out to people so people are at least able to start their work and at least get their homes watertight. I went this morning to do my own and the process was seamless. I walked in. They already had my details printed out on a pre-printed form. They'd done that with every single policyholder. And I just had to then fill in some details on what was the damage. Now I have to get my quote, and they're sending an assessor out this week. So
it's going to be meant to, to rebuild.
Government to get completely up and running is going to take some time from two standpoints. Government has a lot of people who have to take an active role in continuing to sustain important services. The shelters still have to be running because there's still people in those that will be homeless. There would need to be people who assist with daycare because people are going back to work and a lot of them either don't have their helpers or can't necessarily afford their helpers at this point. And then of course government itself had a lot of damage in the tower building especially, and so government is having to rehouse people. So for government to get completely up to where it was before will take some time, but the good news is a lot of government agencies are open. The Monetary Authority has been open for some time, processing license applications. Companies is up and running, and of course the emergency services have done a fantastic job so far in terms of the critical work that they've done to bring us so far so fast, along with CUC and Cable and Wireless and other telecoms providers.
Excellent. Now, a couple more questions and I'm finished with you. The election was due, in about a month's time. What are the plans there?
Well, I think it's fair to say that nobody is thinking about or could contemplate elections. That's the last thing I think on most people's minds, certainly the last thing on my mind. I want to make sure that I get as many people in my district secure and safe and fed and with a roof over the head that isn't leaking as possible. But the governor has officially postponed the elections, and there would be sometime next year for a date that he would set. Personally, I would hope that it's not going to be early in the year and it would be later in the year because we do need time to heal, to recover, and then people to be able to think about something like that. And the other thing is unity and people working together in harmony is what we need now. By nature, elections are divisive. That's the bottom line of it because you will always have more people running for the seats that's available. Therefore, there's going to be a competition and some will like one person or one group and some will like another person. And so there is that sort of element to elections that we really need at this time, and I'm just really thrilled that they're not going to be taking place, I think, for the near future, that's for sure.
And the last question for Mr. Ronstan, you know, the tourism sector, for people, you know, who don't know, the tourism is one of the two main pillars, you know, of the economy. Banking is one, you know. Tell us what the minister is thinking, Mr. Bush, about tourism.